Deadlinux. How you guys doing? I'm doing this free-handed, and I probably shouldn't be doing this while I'm driving because it's distracted driving. But I am heading out at the beginning of a fishing trip. It's a nice, bright, sunny day. It is June, and it is like 81 degrees out. And so I figured it's just a rainstorm just moved through. So, not really a rainstorm, just a heavier front, I think. Yeah, that's my buddy who knows more. Tim, he's the guy you saw in the other video. He's a meteorological genius, so he can tell you more about what that all means. But I figure I just have an instinct. It's a catfishing day, and I was at the bait shop, and people were saying that it's great fishing right now all over the place. So I figure we'll give it a shot and see what we can come up with. Oh, my stereo's talking to me. Excuse me. So I will meet you back in a little bit. I'll meet you in the back of the truck, and we'll show you what I've got hooked up, and we'll hopefully see some fish action today. So hang tight. We'll see you in a minute. Okay, so here we are with the gear. Starting from left to right, of course we have my good old fishing rod with the this is the Eagle Claw version of the reel, the tactical. Does it have the tactical fishing reel? That's the model number in case you're looking for it. Trusted little reel. I've had this for about 3 years now, and I love it to death. Notice I have it left-handed style. I've always had left-handed style. I've fished left-handed for all my life, and I never knew it until somebody finally pointed it out that I could flip this around. But it makes sense to me. I don't know. Same thing with this one. This is one of my favorite reels of all time. This is just a little tiny Shimano 4000. It's still got the push button on it. So if I flip this around, there it is. There. It's got a push button. So the way this works is if you're holding it like this, you can keep your finger here and you keep the line underneath your finger, and then when you're ready to cast, it flips the bail for you. So it's kind of nice that way. And then when you start reeling, of course, it'll flip the bail back over. These are about $10 if you can find them. They're just in plastic. I mean, that's how cheap they are. But one of my favorite reels of all time. It can support up to 12-pound line, and I think I've got 10 on here right now. Just mono. I don't have I'm not going to take the braid with me today because I just don't feel like it. Tackle box, of course. My soft-sided tackle box, which also doubles as a cooler if need be. It's all insulated on the inside, but as you can see, there's no beer. That's just a plastic bag full of bobbers. I've got my cutting board for bait. I have my little tiny thing, which if you've seen my other videos, you know what's in there. Hooks and sinkers and stuff. My main jigs and lures toolbox, I should say. On this side is weights and sinkers. And as you can see, we're getting kind of, can you see in there? You probably can't. Down to the nitty gritty a bit. So I bought some more sinkers and stuff. And then this side, we don't have much on this side. I think this is all empty. Yeah, I've got a cork, half of a bobber. Yeah, that's just junk pile. And then the front is the toolbox, the real toolbox. So we've got, what's this? I don't even know what this is. Another cork. I think I had plans for corks once upon a time. Just in case the river has a lot of current, we can use this guy. Let's see, an old metal stringer that I found on the shore one day. This is for dehooking, but never works. There we go. And I got my clippers and utility tool, whatever, for flipping line. And I think I've got my little hook puller here. Okay, so that's all the stuff there. I'm talking to myself a little bit, so forgive me. Okay, let's go on to the actual bait bucket here. This is ye old bait bucket. This is just a 5-gallon bucket, just from, I don't even know where. I grabbed it. I don't even know. I think I may have found it on the shore, but it's just I don't even think this is a 5-gallon. I think this may be a 3-gallon, but the top still fits. But this is a Freybill top, and this is just a plastic $7. I think it's $7. I thought it was. That just turns your 5-gallon bucket into a toolbox or a bait box or a tackle box, sort of. Got my fishing rod holder here. And I finally found these. These are my favorites. This is the sheep shears for cutting baits. These things are also good for self-defense. I mean, these are evil. If you go to any sort of hobby or craft store and can find the big metal shears like that, they are invaluable. I don't think I've ever sharpened them. Over here I've got my scale, cheapo scale. Is this accurate? Probably not, but this has got the nice big hook so you don't hurt fish too badly. But the other thing too is it's just real easy to bang around with, and it's not that expensive. I think this one cost me $8 maybe 12. The electronic scales are really expensive. They get to be like what, 30 or 40? I can't remember. Okay, I'm trying to do this through the camera. That's kind of hard. Okay, and of course pliers, right? So you got all that kind of stuff. And then for bait, let's take a look here about all sorts of stuff. Maybe we'll get into that a little bit. Well, maybe not. Okay, so I got just a thing of XL crawlers. We'll see what brand they are. They're not the brand I like. I like the ones that come in the square foam. These are just your standard distributor. You can tell, or you can start to tell which distributors your bait shop is using by the type of containers they use. I mean, there's not really a whole lot of labeling, but this could be private, this could be a company, and they just divide up the bag. But the ones I really like are the ones that come in the big square foam boxes, and they're just really nice and plump and juicy, and they insulate a lot better. Okay, this is a fresh bag of cut sucker. You're not going to see this. You'll never see this. Now, you know, oftentimes you want to check to see if the bait is fresh or bleeding or whatever, but that's already pre-cut, and I know the guy who did it. So we're going to see if that works, because that's basically what I'm going to do anyway. So as that thaws out, that bag will just sit there and get nice and juicy and soak up all the juices in that. So that may be key. And of course, soft drink. And that's it. So that's what we got for bait. I've also got more sinkers in here, more hooks in here, swivels for my rigs, all that kind of stuff. And then an ancient chair that I found on the shore one day. So we'll get that out and get some use, and hopefully it will not flake to pieces. But I think it's actually nicer than the chairs I have, because the chairs I have holes in them. So we'll clean this one up and use it. And that's it. So that's the gear and that's the equipment. And we'll see you down on the shoreline in about 10 minutes. Okay, so here we are. This is, if you are familiar with this area, you probably already know what dam I'm at. What the? I thought there was fish jumping over here. And there's already a couple people fishing here, so that's pretty good. And what I wanted to go was right down there, but into the woods and the grassy area is so mosquito ridden and it was just too much, so we're going to try right here. It's a decent spot. The bank actually goes a little further, and then there's a drop off. But what we want to get to, it's like there's a seam right there, right in there, and I think, oh god, sorry. I think if we can land it there, next to the shade, we should be okay. So we'll take a look. This is the Red River, by the way. Maybe you haven't seen this side of it, but it's actually a really pretty river in certain spots, and this is one of the best. So we'll be back in a minute when I'm all set up and catching fish, I hope. Okay, using a similar setup like we've done before. Don't mind this, it's just a hair tie. I used to hold it all together. So we have our terminal end. So we're using a circle hook. I think this is a 6. Not sure. Regular mono line. This is the same stuff I've been using. Not too happy with it, but it's on the rod right now. Then we have our spoon style sinker, 2 ounces. Should be fine for this current, I think. We'll find out. And then that swivel slips along the main line, so that the weight actually is sort of like an extended slip sinker sort of setup. And then this isn't actually just a regular barrel swivel. So I've got 2 swivels on here, one above the other one. So the one slips up and down the main line, and the other one's just to prevent the hook from getting locked up so it can spin freely, because the bait will make it spin. So we're going to use cut sucker right away. So we're going to use a big chunk of this stuff. Ooh, look at that. Oh, dude, tasty fish. That's sushi right there. We may have to eat some of this and leave the rest for bait. I'm kidding. So we'll take a chunk about that, but we're only going to use a little bit of it. I want to get a nice, good square chunk. And then we'll put it on the hook and then cast it on out. Okay, I've shown you bait before, but this is about proper hooking right here. So I got a chunk of sucker on here. I don't know if you can see that. This may be a little clearer than the other video I had. Nice red steaky there. Now this part right here, these scales, probably should brush those off of there because that will cause problems. So I gotta use my other finger to get rid of that. There we go. So like that. Notice how the hook point is all the way exposed like that? That's probably a little too much, but that's actually not a big problem. So you can actually throw it like this. The one thing I will show you though, stand up in the sunlight a little bit, is you know how it's going out through the skin on the backside. Oh, sorry. Out through the skin on the backside here, because you want to make sure the hook's going through the skin, because the skin is the toughest part. If you don't go through the skin, the meat will disintegrate. So that's kind of where that goes. So we're going to cast this out there, and yeah, but I just wanted to show you how to hook it. If you've never used cut bait before, notice how big the chunk is. You don't really want to go much bigger than that. You can go smaller than that. Even with a bigger hook, you can go about this size, and it's just fine. You don't want to use up too much of your bait. And then this guy's going to sit out there for about 30 minutes or so, 30 to 45. You know, if you don't think you're waiting long enough, you probably aren't. So always wait a little bit longer than you think you're supposed to. So I got my rod holder set up there. We're going to cast right out there. Okay, so here we are. Cast it out. My rod is all set up, and you'll notice it's bouncing a little bit. I don't know if you can see that. That's just current. Nothing really to worry about there. While I was doing this, I wanted to take the time to thank my parents, my dad, my wife, and my grandma and my aunt out in California, who've been watching these, and evidently they kind of liked them. So I did want to say I did get the book. Thank you. Using some of those tactics here and adapting some of my own. But we just wanted to say I really appreciate you guys, and I will get back to you as soon as I can. But I just wanted to thank you in the video here, just because it's out in the internets and preserved for all posterity. But we're going to wait here and see what comes up. I think I'm actually probably a little out of position here. I wanted to be down. The current dragged it all the way down to here, and so I may cast further up and let it go that way, because it does swirl here. So we'll see, but I may just let her buck for a little bit here and see what goes on. So we'll see you guys in a bit. Okay, we got our first little guy. Check him out. Okay, now he is, I don't really care how he is. He's just a pretty fish. Look at him. It's great. I'm going to say he's probably about a couple pounds, but he fought pretty good. Notice how I'm holding him. See how I've got my fingers right underneath his fins, and I'm kind of palming his head like that? Also notice his dorsal spike is underneath my palm. All those points can hurt you. So you really don't want to be messing around with that. Now he's a good eater size, but I want bigger. And he's just nice and pretty. So, I'm sorry, it's not a he, it's a she. Because it's got a flat head. If you see the bumps on the head, that's a male. We're going to let this guy back. But yeah, be careful. You can grab him in the mouth, that's fine. But you really want to grab him around here, because the head is really just one big thick bone, and underneath the fins there's like a little handle. So it's really nice to do. So we're going to let this guy back and release him. Oh, there he goes. Wrong way, buddy. Gone Johnson. So that's the first catch of the day. So yeah, not too bad. So we'll go back and try it again. Oh, and I look like crap. So like I was saying, here's a really cheap Father's Day gift. I just wanted to say this video is dedicated to my grandma and my aunt in California. This is for you, of course. But also to my dad, who it's Father's Day tomorrow. So happy Father's Day, Dad. Here's your present. Your son fishing out on the red here-ish. But anyway, so I hope you're enjoying the video, and I'll send you the link to this so you get it. But yeah, thank you all, guys. So this is what I'm going to try and do, is make some more videos of this and hope people like them. And I hope you guys do like them. I hope everybody who's watching these videos gets a kick out of this sort of crap, because it's just me being an amateur fisherman and doing the best I can and looking like crap. I can't figure out where the camera is on this dang thing. Is it over here? Is it here? Ah, there it is. Okay. So I was just talking to another guy here who is also setting up, so we'll have another fisherman here, and that's it. And the other two guys left, so this is pretty good. See you in a bit. Okay, so we're about a couple hours in. Just had the one cat so far, but what I've been doing is since North Dakota allows you to have two rods, I got my other little rod set up here, the bobber out there with a night crawler on it, to fish for bait. All I've been using today is cut sucker that I bought, but gold eye also works too, and rather than buy that, because that's usually, there's only one place in town that sells it, you catch it yourself. So I've actually caught two of them already. I'll show you right here. So they're actually already in there. Just threw them on down, and they'll become bait for later. So, or they could become bait right now, depending on if I want to use them. But I really don't really want to cut through that and go through that mess at the moment. So yeah, lots of fun. But maybe give it another hour here. We got a couple of bumps. Me and the other guy did too. But I'm not sure if I'm in the right spot or if I need to change bait or something. So that's kind of the deal so far. I also have another group way down there that I can smell the bug spray they were using. And yeah, so, but North Dakota only you can have two rods. Minnesota you can't. You can only use one. So just keep that in mind if you're fishing in the area. And since the red's on the border of both, if you're on that side you can use one rod, this side you can use two. I think that's the rule. But anyway, so But really in North Dakota, all you're going to use the second rod for is bait fishing like I'm doing here. So I recommend it. Otherwise, I just use the one. Anyway, so that's so far, and we'll see what else comes down the line. Okay, it's getting on to be a little darker now. Ooh, and I'm out of focus. That sucks. Hang on. Here we go. Okay, here's the next guy. This guy is 8 or 7.5 pounds. Girl, again. Oh, that's a guy. He's got bumps on his head. So, what I changed, I'm probably going to throw this guy back, but what I changed was, I had been, well, you can see it's a lot shadier now. It's probably around 4:30, almost 5. But I'll bet you this guy came out of, well, let's see, can I get him in the sunlight so you can see a better shot of him? Yeah, that's it. It's more like that. This guy kind of came out in the channel, so I'm going to start fishing there. And it's also getting a little cooler and a little later yet, too. So, yeah. But, yeah, I can't really read it that well. But anyway, just wanted to show you. That's catch number 2. Not too bad. It's a heck of a fighter. When they get to be this size, they fight really hard. They get bigger than that, they start relaxing. But this is the kind of size that's fun to catch. But he's going back. Ladies and gentlemen, we just finished our fishing tour, and I just did the walk back. So, I think it was a pretty successful day. We got the one that you saw, which was the little, that little 2-pounder, something like that, 2.5 pounder. And then we had the 7.5 pounder later, which I hope you were able to see clearly. I know it was kind of dark. I'll have to work with the video to make sure it actually looks clear. And besides that, I did catch a couple of goldeyes that I'm going to use for bait later. I didn't show you, well, I showed you those in the bucket, but I didn't actually show you those on the video here. If you're ever curious about the pictures, I try to post the pictures of the actual fish on my Twitter account. So feel free to browse through it, and you should see the pictures of the fish. Although I didn't take pictures of the goldeye. I just threw them straight in the bait bucket because they'll probably be bait for tomorrow. So tomorrow, I'd like to go fishing too. Back to the thing at hand. Now there's a couple of things that I noticed that I'm not sure I'm going to keep the same way. The weights that I'm using, I don't know if I showed them to you, those spoon style. They're concave on one end of them, and they're kind of like teardrop shaped. I think the current caused problems with those today, because I think they fluttered more than usual. They didn't hit the bottom as fast, so the current was able to kind of drag them around and drag them out of position. The 1 7.5 pounder that I did catch was when my bait stayed where I wanted it to. All the rest of the casts I had kind of went all over the place. So that's one thing. I may switch to different sinkers, because if you use a narrower bullet style sinker or a bank sinker, those go straight through the water and they'll hit the bottom. I just don't like those because they don't flutter as much, but in this circumstance they would have worked really well. So I may switch that up. Line, of course my line is old. It needs to be stripped off and replaced. It was starting to unwind off the reel itself. That's a bad sign. So we'll get that. But I did catch fish, so we know there's fish out there. And it was actually a pretty good day for fishing. The 2 specimens we got, I didn't keep either of them, but I think they were pretty good. We learned how to hold a catfish today. Remember, watch the fins, watch the spiky things. The fins, the dorsal fin and the 2 side pectoral fins, those are the bad ones. Those are the ones that can poke you. And if the fish turns really quick, it can stab you pretty hard and can actually puncture skin fairly easily. So you always want to make sure to keep those out of range of flesh. I think that's it. Did get a bunch of bumps later, and what I did learn is if you're fishing for catfish and your bait's out there and all of a sudden you get like a bump and that's it, sometimes a catfish will actually touch the bait, not with their mouth, but they'll swim by it and brush it, and that's actually tasting it. So if they're doing that and don't come back, maybe it's time to switch bait. I don't know. I only used the one kind of bait today, except for goldeye I was using night crawlers. So perhaps that was part of the problem. So a couple of things we can change up for next time. Maybe not tomorrow. Tomorrow I'll be lazy probably because it's Father's Day and I can do that. But anyway, I hope you enjoyed the video. This is a little longer than normal, and I'm ending it up and making it all sorts of schmaltzy stuff. But hopefully you enjoyed it, and if any of my family gets a chance to see this video, thank you so much for everything, of course. And I'll be making more of these, so keep an eye on the channel, and subscribe to the Twitter account as well. I'll also make sure that things are posted up there. And I think that's it. So thank you so much. Thanks for fishing with me, and we'll see you guys later. Take care. And just to remember all this, remember tomorrow is Father's Day. So if you're watching this video today, you probably aren't. probably already forgot about Father's Day, and now this is just belated, so now go call your dad and make sure that he knows you appreciate all the things they do. And speaking of which, Dad, happy Father's Day. I will shoot you this link over email today, but I know I haven't called you back this last week, and you called me a couple times, so I'm making a video for your, well, this isn't really it's sort of a Father's Day present, but it's a Father's Day thing. I'm saying Happy Father's Day over the internet to hundreds of millions of people, because why not? You know, you're my dad. I can do that. So Happy Father's Day, Dad. As well, I also want to say thank you again to my grandma and Aunt Vic out in California for watching the videos. Hopefully you get to see this one. Hopefully this one isn't too long and rambling, and you will be hearing from me soon. I owe you guys a lot because you helped me out, and I really appreciate that. And this video is developing ad revenue, so actually this is a form of income, so I'm still trying to develop other ways of making money. So yeah, all should be just fine. And when I become a huge YouTube sensation, make millions, I'll let you know. Anyway, that's for my family, and of course, Stacy, I love you, my wife. But anyway, and girls, I love you both too. But okay, I get sidetracked. Just wanted to say that because it's that. The other thing I found out is also it's my mom's birthday tomorrow, and it was kind of a remembrance sort of thing. My mom passed away exactly 10 years ago this summer, and she used to get upset at her birthday because my grandfather was a big fisherman, and Father's Day always fell right on her birthday, obviously. And so when it was her birthday, she sometimes had to go fishing with her dad to celebrate it. So, I just went fishing by myself. So it's kind of funny how the tables turn when you get older, right? But anyway, I digress.